Chase hit the gate, he went crazy, blacked out. This dude straight up clowning. Beast mode, right? And Chance Hymas, woo! Oh my God. I don't even believe the pass was dirty. Hey, it's fair play now. I'm like, oh. So let's do what we do, people. Let's break it down. Round 2, San Diego. What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy JS7, and we are back for round 2 of the Rewind show. Feels good to be back. It also feels good to watch those guys do their thing. Last weekend in San Diego, we witnessed Eli Tomac not return back to beast mode. This was a new form and improvement. The dude did something I ain't never seen him done. He's won 55 times. The previous 54 didn't look anything like this. So we're going to break that down. So we saw him do his thing. Ken Roxon rode great. Hunter Lawrence was trying his best to imitate his brother, Jet Lawrence. And we saw in the 250 class, Haiden Deegan solidify, put himself back on top because he was always on top and he wanted to serve notice that he don't care about anybody. He going to do his thing. And whatever way you look at it, it doesn't matter. Haiden looked at it the way he did all the way back to the top. Levi Kitchen did his thing, but he was on the ground. So people, you know what we got to do. And Chance Hymas, oh my God. Oh my God. I know y'all was jumping out of your seat. I spilled my popcorn. I didn't even have any popcorn. I'm just happy Chance still had a chance after that one. So let's do what we do, people. Let's break it down. Round 2, San Diego. Let's get into it. Last weekend, Anaheim won. There was a lot of questions coming in. And the one main question was, who was going to step up? We knew there was a bunch of guys switching teams. Eli Tomac on the KTM. There's a lot of hype about him. Chase Sexton, there was a lot of hype about him. Cooper Webb, the defending champion. There's usually not a lot of hype about him, but he's always there. Hunter Lawrence, with Jet Lawrence being out. Who is going to step up? We know how good Ken Roxon is. But, man, we saw Eli Tomac. Wouldn't even say rise from dead because that would be something that we didn't expect him to do. We knew he would be good, but we didn't know how good he would be. He was able to come and win. The way he won last weekend, you could just see every lap, the confidence it was coming and coming. And I said the one thing that I noticed with Eli on the KTM compared to even the other bikes is that he just looked big on the bike. Like he looked like he had a lot of control over it. And last weekend, the way that track was, it was on form. We're fast forward a week later, and boy, Eli's won 55 times. The previous 54 looked nothing like that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this guy was in complete control. And when I mean he was in complete control, Eli was thinking about Waffle House and IHOP and then decided, you know what, I'm going to Waffle House tomorrow and let me go win this race. That's how he rode. And it was beautiful to watch. Now, you might be wondering, like, how you come up with that assessment? Yeah, I don't know. I just look at it and picture what I would be doing and the way he looked. So, Eli looked good all day long. He looked good all day. He just looked more confident. And let's go back and let's talk about the track because I said last weekend, the way that track was at Anaheim, it got slippery and slippery, and their bike looked really good, meaning Eli's bike looked really good, and he got more and more comfortable, and he was in control of it. So here this weekend at San Diego, with those switchbacks and stuff, it was another track that was really set up for the strong suits of the KTM. Now, we've only been in it 2 rounds, and I would say the way those layouts were and how the conditions, it seems like it would favor it. But honestly, when you get to a certain point with confidence, I said last weekend, it doesn't really matter if the bike doesn't work. You can overcome it, and he's comfortable on the bike because you know what he's doing. He's big. It looks like he's in control. Well, with those switchbacks, you just felt like the way Eli was talking about how his lean angle was and coming the speed he had exiting the corners with all these switchbacks, it was going to be pretty good, those 180s, and it was on full display from practice. Sometimes you just roll the bike out of the truck, you hop on with your mechanic, and you're riding down the tunnel, and because your levers feel good, your handlebars feel good, you're like, I'm going to win today, before you even set foot on the track. And to me, it looked like that. It actually looked like that. Us riders know when you put those hands, you just don't have to adjust anything. It's just going to be a good day at the office. And you could just tell it was going to be a good day. He looked comfortable no matter what circumstance it was. And a lot of it had to do with, one, setup, but two, what happened at the first race. He built off that this weekend and came into San Diego. Well, fast forward to the main event. he's like third place, right? And he's got his strongest competition because Chase was stuck in the gate still. We'll talk about him later, but he was still stuck in the gate. Yeah, Hunter Lawrence out front, Ken Roczen. Now, if you watch that beginning part of the race, just watch those opening 2 laps. And when I say Eli was in the mindset of like, he knew he was going to win the race, like he was just like, all right, whatever, I'm going to react on what happens. And the person in second place, which is Ken Roczen, was the guy that Eli was going to have to react on. What Ken did, Eli was going to do. Hunter Lawrence held Ken off those opening couple laps. Like Hunter Lawrence was doing his thing because we know how good Ken Roczen is in the beginning part. Man, that dude, his lines, he was going back and forth. It was pretty to watch. Like, and Hunter did a great job at defending that. Well, when you saw Eli back there, it was like when Roczen almost got around Hunter Lawrence, Eli like closed in. And when he didn't, then he like sat back because after a couple laps, once Hunter Lawrence solidified that lead, Ken dropped back a little bit. I think he went off the racetrack. Eli was just sitting back like, all right, cool. When Ken passed Hunter Lawrence, Eli passed Hunter Lawrence. Then he went after Ken Roczen. Now, I think at the end of the day, no matter what, the way Eli was riding, he was going to win that race, period, no matter if Ken would have got out front. But if Ken would have got out front and he was able to get around Hunter Lawrence in the early part of that race, it would have just made it a little bit more harder for him because we know how good Ken is in the lead and how his opening laps. But because Hunter Lawrence was able to, stall that process out, Eli didn't have to sprint in the beginning part. And it was cool to watch because you could just see him play out the race. And it played out exactly the way he was. Now, Eli was I believe he was even paying attention to where Chase was. Because once he realized, okay, Ken's in second, Hunter's out front. All right, I think I got those two can control. Where's Chase at? Because he was the other guy that had some speed. Well, he saw Chase coming up with that old school Kawasaki look, 2001, throw out to Ricky. That look, he saw him coming. But as a rider with those switchbacks, you're going down after a 180, going down the rhythm section. You could see that helmet, the green helmet. You could see all the bike. And so once he saw Chase was coming, he was like, all right. If this dude makes some passes and get around these guys, then I'm going to have to pick it up. But then he saw Chase probably stall out behind those guys, and that gap stayed the same, which made Eli not have to rush it and get past Hunter Lawrence and Ken Roczen. Now, again, it's the way it looked to me. And if I was in that mindset, I've been there where, all right, the two guys in front, they're problems, but you feel like you can handle that problem. The other guy that's a problem is like when I was watching Ricky or RV, it happened to me at Dallas in 2014 where Dungey was out front and I felt pretty comfortable that like eventually I'll be able to get him. The one guy I was worried about was Villapoto. He didn't get the best start. I saw him coming and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna have to pass Ryan and put that gap because Villapoto is coming. Well, when I saw Villo get hung up behind a few guys, I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to sit here and warm up, let my legs go, and I'm going to try to get around Dungey. And I believe that's what happened with Eli. So to me, that's what it seemed like because when Chase was coming, there was a moment like Eli caught up to the guys that was in front of him. And then when Chase stayed there, then Eli dropped back. So it was just a rider that was completely in the zone and he was taking no chances, letting the situation around him dictate when he decided he wanted to go fast. So when Roczen was out front, Eli was in second. Eli ends up getting around them, right? And they hit the finish line. They get pretty close. And then Eli goes into the whoop section. He hits that 180 and goes in the whoop section. Now, if you watch, Eli was going down the inside of those whoops, but for whatever reason, I don't know if he got a little cross-threaded coming out, he ends up going wide, which would put him on the outside of the whoops. Well, Roczen knew he probably needed to get around Eli right then because the way he was going as a rider up front, if you're in that spot, my only chance of like winning this race is getting back in front of this dude and then slowing the race down to recover, right? Because at that point you ain't gonna run away from him. So he's like still there. You're doing everything. Dude's still there. As a rider, you're like, I got to get back around him. So Eli goes outside, which allows Ken to get back to the inside. They go through the first part of whoops, hit that tabletop. Eli understands that, all right, Ken's gonna be there. There was a moment where Eli, if he felt like he was in trouble and he needed to be out front, he would have just slowly start cutting over in those whoops or tried chopping Roxon down because he was still kind of ahead of him. So he could have made it interesting. But the point where I was like, dude's got him. Like, he got him. Well, I felt like he had him from the beginning once Hunter held him. But you could tell when he didn't try to chop Ken off and he's like, all right, just going up the inside. That told me that was like, all right, dude, he has him. He has him. Now, as a rider, when you're following somebody where you're in that position where Eli was, Ken would go in the corner, you would go in the corner. It's a lot easier being in second because you can see when the dude's breaking, and if you feel like you need to like make that time up, you'll just go a little harder. You can tell his breaking points. Well, watch what Eli was doing in all the corners. He would just go a little bit farther on the inside of Ken. Didn't it look like Eli, when he was going into those corners right behind Ken when they were getting close, that it was like he was stalled out in it? Like Ken, that is. Like Ken would go in the corner, he'd be going through, and Eli would just go on the inside, and you could see Eli like sit up. Like he was just kind of waiting, like, all right, Ken, you're going to go. And it wasn't like Ken was going slower. It was just the fact that Eli was so dialed in that he was able to ride around and go anywhere he wanted. But the bigger part to that was that he was saving so much energy. Like when he got in that zone, Ken was done. Like, yeah, all the guys were done. All the guys done, because I've been in that spot before where you're locked in and it just seems like you're cutting half the track off. Literally, that's what you felt like. And so you would go in the corner, and as this dude trying to get through it, you would just sit there, like, take your time, rest up, and you would get the same sensation as if you were hitting a big old triple and you were getting breathers. So at that point when Eli was behind Ken, it was like he was recovering, just cruising, going through and staying behind Ken and not losing any time. And so when he decided, like, all right, I think I got him, Chase, all right, Chase done moved up to fourth right here. Let me just go ahead and put this, make this pass on Ken. He like did it and he just took off. Like he took off. It was really cool to watch. And why I said that I've never seen, out of the 54 times that he's won previous, I've never seen that, is because we think about Eli and what do we call him? Beast mode, right? Beast mode. Bigfoot, he ain't methodical. Bigfoot, like when he get mad, he hungry. He knock everybody down. He just coming through the pack. Go back to Salt Lake years ago. Man, when Eli rolls, he's outside. You can hear him come in. It's a train, and the train ain't being stopped. Not this time. This dude was locked in, and he was like, I'm going to go fast whenever I feel like going fast. And he didn't even need beast mode. There was no beast mode about it. It was just like he was that much better than everybody else. Like literally. And that's how he rode. And that was the first time I ever seen Eli be in that spot to where he would purposely sit back, attack. Okay, it ain't working. Sit back. And you can kind of say attack. I almost attack's the wrong word, but sit back and kind of dictate what he was doing and with ease. There was no beast mode about that. And it was cool to watch, and it was interesting to watch because I'm like, man, I ain't never seen that. There's another part that at the end of the race, I ain't never seen, and had me questioning what was going on, but I'll get to that in a second. But it was pretty because it just shows you how locked in he is. And I think every lap that went through last weekend was huge for him to prove that, look, man, this team and this bike, it can work. And like I said, if he has a couple more races like this, the one thing as a racer and the guys that's riding with him, you'll get your bike better and you'll continue to get better, but so will he. You were hoping that, okay, Anaheim won, the way that track was, favored his bike. All right, San Diego, all right, favored his bike. What you're not realizing is that, and all the riders know, is that there becomes a point to where you got so much confidence that you can 86 the bike not working on the track. I believe that's the problem that if these guys don't figure out how to beat him, they're going to have, because there's going to be a point where he just feels like, I'm so locked in and I'm so much better that I'll just ride around all the issues. And you saw that a little bit this weekend, because there were some sections that would say, for instance, after you go over the tunnel jump, those are some of the spots that I could see maybe there's an issue with him. Like when he runs in really, really hard, you can see his front end like tucking and stuff. If he don't have to go that fast in there, then that's eliminated. Not saying that it's a problem, but those are only a few spots that I see like, okay, I can see how if he really pushes this bike that you can override it. Well, and you're hoping that you'll get some tracks that are faster, that problem will come out. Well, I'm just saying that because he's getting so much confidence and all that, you can see how his acceleration coming out of the corners, like the where Hayden and Max Hansty got into it, like that section. Look at Eli's bike. Once they were tripling that corner where where him and Max got into it, when they would come out, look how much like the burst of speed Eli would have compared to like everybody else. Like all the 450 guys, they were jumping it no problem, but it was like he would come out of the corner and just gas it, and it was like a burst of speed. And then he would land in that next corner, and he can decide like, all right, I'm gonna turn down. I'm gonna just go outside and go fast and go down underneath that tunnel. He was in complete control, but those guys got that bike so good on the traction, and between the way he rides and how he likes to, that dump throttle and all that, it works out. Another part where Eli was really good at is when, he was behind Roxon and Hunter Lawrence was there. The entrance of the whoops, like, so he would get in the first 3 or 4 whoops. Eli's bike, it would get in and it would kick, but it was really slow. And how you could tell he was comfortable as like, and I was talking about last weekend, that whatever bike does, he's like, all right, whatever, I can handle it. Like he's in control of it. Look at the way his body doesn't change when in the whoops. Like he would get in, back tire would hit, and his bike he was just more straight up and down. And it's like he didn't have to move back and forth with the bike. He would slam into that jump, that wall thing in the middle. Just look at Roxon's or Hunter's bike when they got into the whoops, especially Hunter's. He would get into the first 3. It's like that back tire would hit. He would have to move back. You can really see it as he kept going. Is that his bike would work, but he had to be in like a certain spot. Like if the thing kicked, he had to kind of move back. Where Eli, he was just like getting in it, and he was just like that, like he didn't have to move. And all that, you add that up around the racetrack, and even when they jumped over that next wall jump, how Eli would land, and a bunch of those guys were doing it, but they would land and kind of pick their wheel up and wheelie and wheel tap out of the end. There was just no effort from him. Like there really wasn't much effort. And I'm only bringing that up, not saying that Hunter's bike was bad or any other bike, but you just look at those differences and you add that up on how his acceleration, how comfortable he's feel. It's going to be hard to beat a guy like that because he's not worried about anything. Like there's even in the whoops, he's saving energy because he's not reacting to what the bike is. He's just going to sit there where those other guys have to like, okay, let me just move back, and they'll continue to work. Hunter bike looked better this weekend, but when you watch those two around the racetrack, you can see the differences of where one bike is just working better than the other. And when a guy that has a pedigree of Eli and the confidence, and he's winning now differently than he's the past, oh, hell, that's a problem. I believe the KTM, just like it helped Chase, it's helping Eli in a different way. It's making him a better rider. And him being at his age and, all the races he won, that's gnarly because I don't think Eli can just have the burst of speed like he had on the Kawasaki or even the Yamaha. I don't think he can do that. I think what he's going to do is kind of like we talked about Jet Lawrence. He might not be the fastest entering the corner, but overall at the end of the lap, like he's going to be going faster than you, and it's going to look like he's doing it easier because the way I believe the KTM is, he can override it. Same thing with Chase. He can override it. Not a bad bike. You just have to ride him differently. But what it's going to teach you is that you're going to have to find speed a different way. And I believe Eli has found a different way of attacking the racetrack. Now, of course, he still has those moments like how he had at the end of the race for Hunter Lawrence. He has those moments where he can just be like, what, and just dip out. But still, you haven't seen beast mode. And be honest with yourself. You saw that race. Did it look like it was hard for him? Like, did it look like it's hard? Maybe if you watched it the first time, you're like, man, those guys were close. Man, at no point, and I mean no disrespect, because I've been on the other end of that. Hunter Lawrence rode great. Like, he rode great. I was pumped for him. Ken rode great. I was pumped for him. But reality is, they weren't even close. Now, as I say that, Speed-wise, they're close. They're close. Where his mindset was, Eli, his mindset was, they weren't even close. He had that race on lock. Things would change. Those guys are going to win races. And like I said, I mean, no disrespect at all. But I just saw something that I've never seen from that dude ever. And he was just sitting back. And you only do that is when you know you're locked in. When you just sit around and you dictate, okay, Chase is back there. All right, Chase going to come up. All right, cool. Okay, if Ken passes Hunter, all right, I'm going to have to go fast because I don't want to work that hard. Man, I was up last night changing diapers. I don't want to have to work that hard. Okay, Hunter's got him state like he's behind him. Okay, I can chill back. That's what he was doing. Anytime he decided to go fast, that's when he went fast. If you don't believe me, what happened at the end of the race? That part was funny. I ain't gonna lie. As I was watching that race, I was like, when Hunter was closing in, I was like, man, is Eli tired? Like, is Eli tired? Now, let me try to explain this to you. There's two different types of tired. There's like tired and there's like exhausted. So the tired is, all right, if you're tired, you'll still have a little bit of fight in you. You'll look back, especially if you had end of the race, like you'll have some fight. You'll be like, okay, all right, there's only like 3 laps left. Let me cut this dude off. Let me do this. Let me look back. And then there's exhausted to where you don't even care. You basically giving up on the racetrack. You surviving. You don't care. It's like you riding with the attitude as if like you just finished the race and your team manager said you got to show up the next day and do motos because you got tired. That's the attitude you ride, meaning you ain't looking back. You ain't trying to stop nobody. When you go past the mechanics area, you're going to look the other way. You're going to purposely not see the mechanic because you don't care. And that's what I saw with Eli. I was like, man, okay, if he's tired, like he's only got a couple laps, like he would be looking back, but it was none of that. Or the other thing was, which this is what I was like, all right, I didn't notice until at the end, or you just so locked in that you're like, you have no care in the world, as if you're at a college frat party, bucket naked, doing wheelies, saying, woo, no worries for life, with that attitude riding. That was the only difference, because you wouldn't be worried about him either way. And then the funny part was, once Hunter Lawrence ran it in on him and Eli's realized that it was Hunter Lawrence, you knew it was the frat party one, because dude dipped out on him, came by, like he pulled away, came by the next to last corner, came with the old goon ride, like throttle, like right before the finish line, hit the finish line, hit him with a turn down for what? Neck burn. I was like, oh my gosh, this dude's straight up clowning. That's how you kind of knew. And which is funny because all that was happening within the last 3 or 4 laps, but it just made a lot more sense. Once you watch the video, you saw what he was doing in the beginning. You knew Eli was balling out at a frat party. He had no idea that Hunter Lawrence was there, which makes sense why when Hunter Lawrence kept closing in, he didn't even look back at him. And like I said, I thought the dude was not tired. He was exhausted, because I've been in that spot where you just exhausted and you mad that the dude hasn't passed you in second place because he's wasting your time. You have no fight. You're just so tired. You're just trying to get through it. And when he hit him with the turn down, neck burn, I was like, dude, that's gangster. That's gangster. I haven't seen that happen, and that was beautiful to watch. So Eli, man, you crushed it. I could sit here and talk all day about you. I just thought it was clinical. And when you watch a guy who's won so many championships and been so dominant as he has, when they take it to a different level, you got to mention it. You got to mention it. Like I said, I know those guys, they ain't going to take disrespect, because I don't mean it at all. I'm just saying that there was people saying that, man, that looked like a hard race. Maybe from the outside looked like it. When you start watching that video, that was probably the easiest race Eli's ever won in his life, and probably the most fun. Dude was locked in a different zone, not even worried about Hunter Lawrence is coming up in that ass. He was about to get him. If Hunter wouldn't have revved his motorcycle over that bridge jump, he might have had a chance. He might have caught Eli slipping, because he was slipping, but it was cool. So big shout out to all those dudes. KTM, I know it was really cool. Jay, love the over the tops, bro. Y'all were killing it. All you guys were good. Jorge Prada, he lost his shoe, man. He lost his shoe. He fine. You kind of had to say that track was hard to make passes on, unless you was Chase Sexton. Hard to make passes on, but nonetheless, it was pretty to watch. So Eli, I'll finish you off in a minute. Just touch on Hunter Lawrence, Ken Roczen. Ken Roczen, Still, I still feel the same way. Ken's doing great. He looks great. Some of the things that happen, we've seen that in the past, but I still believe Ken, if he can stay up here and you have a few more podiums in the beginning part of the race, he's going to be a threat. He's going to be a threat. And then Hunter Lawrence, he got better. Now, he was a lot more aggressive in the beginning part of the race. And I touched on this last weekend, the way that race started for him. You can see the difference between where he was last weekend and this weekend. Traction, obviously they worked on the bike. Obviously they still have to continue to work on the bike. But when you watch the KTM, and I would say even almost all the Japanese frames, they have more spring to it. They have more spring to it. When you watch them in the whoop section, it's like their bikes are built for Supercross. Like, so if there's no big jumps and no huge whoops, then maybe sometimes it's a little bit harder for them. And you can really tell, and even with Chase's bike, get on him, touch on him in a second, when they were lean, there wasn't as much lean, especially right before the finish line, compared to like Eli. You could see them there, they would start leaning their bike, those bikes would hit the bumps and, it want to deflect. Compared to last weekend, the track had more traction. You could just feel like Hunter and whatever improvements that he made, that they got a little bit better. He had more faith in it. So in the beginning part of the race, he was able to hold Roczen off, because last weekend, that would have never happened. Like, Roczen would have got around him so quick, but Hunter had that confidence and he rode great. Like, he rode really good. I just think he ran into a buzzsaw with Eli being so comfortable. And after all that confidence from last weekend, you put those two up, Hunter rode really good because he was going against a guy that I don't think he's ever raced against. Now, I don't think none of these guys have raced against the San Diego version of Eli. They have not raced that dude. Usually when beast mode gets going, you got to hit him in the throat. Like, you got to hit him in the throat. I don't think you hit him in the throat. He just might be like, and then recover. So you got to beat him a different type of way. And you just don't lose that on beast mode. He's always going to have that, whether he can do it or not. Consistency, he can always have that. Now he has this toolbox. Hey, man, it's going to be tough to beat. But I know these guys out there, they can do it. So Hunter Lawrence, Honda, bike look better. Ken Roczen, you keep doing your thing. Give shout out Justin Cooper, Joey Savacci. All you guys rode good. AP, you guys rode good. Chase rode better this week in the main event. I don't think Chase's day started out that great. Clearly, I mean, when he ran into the guy off the I wouldn't say a lap rider because they were in practice. When he ran into the guy, it was more like, damn, the mistakes. I said last weekend, Chase's history is the part that really gets to him, and he's got to do his best not to even worry about that. But practice did not look good. Bike did not look good. It just seems like he's in a weird spot and really getting comfortable. And I know he has the right crew around him and they're trying to sort it out. But Chase's bike reminds me of my bike. Like, it really reminds me of my bike. And when you watch him in practice and in a heat race, it just looks like, as long as it's in a straight line and as long as you're hitting every whoop, you're fine. Like, Chase's bike is meant to go fast. It's really rigid. It looks uncomfortable. It's meant to go fast. Now, compared to last weekend, I'm sure they're working on it. I heard that something like triple clamps, give it a little bit more flex. I don't know. It just looks rigid. And you could just tell sometimes if he's in those rhythm sections, like he'll clip something and all of a sudden the front end will pop back up on him. They're working on it. It just wasn't there. So the way practice was going, and then he ran into the dude, it was going to be a very important night for Chase. Now, I know we at round 2, and I know people are like, oh, man, like, how can you be like this and, saying it's important for him? Chase is one of the most talented guys out there, if not the most talented guy out there. Like, I'm a huge fan. But what you got to go back, it's not Anaheim 1 that we're just talking about. Go back to the last few races that Chase has had. Let's just go back. Ironman, what happened? He goes down. All right. He gets at the first playoff, like, he rode pretty good. We weren't even sure if he was going to show up. Was he hurt? What's all this stuff? He rode pretty good. Go to the second playoff. He ends up the last lap slowing down. There was some issue with the bike. Like, there's something going on. So you had the St. Louis where he ends at, like, basically rolling around. All right. The playoff race in Vegas, got knocked out, like, laid out on the track. So it's not Anaheim that we're talking about. It's the last 4 or 5 races that we've seen him on the racetrack. And when you put all that together And when you think about the confidence, and we know what happens with Chase when he gets that confidence, and he's one of the most confident guys that like I've been around. Like he believes in himself. When that part isn't going and there's no signs of like, okay, all right, practice, you're not the fast, like you don't have that speed, you're struggling with the motorcycle, that gets to you because you have nothing to lean on. All you have is like, all right, you were good in practice at Anaheim, but that's it. Like, that's it. The race sucked. You know, if for your standards, it sucked. You went down, you had a few mistakes, the bike wasn't that good or whatever, you struggle. So all the history you have on this new team has been mistakes. So after watching what happened during the day, I felt like it was going to be really important. Now, Chase won that heat race. I think Chase has won that heat race because Chase is that damn good, really. Like, I think he's that good. And the mixed bag that I talked about him and Cooper Webb last weekend, Chase can win all these races. Like, he's still probably the fastest guy. If you just put him up, everything's good. He's still, I believe he's faster than Eli right now too. If you just put him up and all the circumstances are good, problem is you can't, how good Eli is and how good these other guys is, you can't just be living on like, okay, everything has to be good. You have to have all that stuff working. And that's where you have to have that belief to build a rod around it. Well, again, they worked on the bike. Again, it's gotten better. Again, it was a struggle for him, but he came out and did his thing in the heat race, which was great. But at no point that I felt like he looks like Eli and how comfortable it is. Even the Roxon, he don't look like that. It just looks like he has that speed, but it's not happening easy for him. Like, he's always going to be fast, but it doesn't happen easy. You almost get a little sense of the Honda to where you're just kind of waiting. Like, you're just kind of waiting. Again, it's not, I'm not saying anything bad about him, but that's just the way it looks. It's not easy for him. So when he gets stuck in the gate, you're like, oh, damn. I think Chase getting stuck in the gate was the best thing for him because it took all the pressure off of him. Like, it really did. And as crazy as that sound, when you get stuck in the gate and you just won the heat race, and Chase's mind, he was going to hold shot and run away from the dudes. And maybe he would have. But when you get stuck in the gate, it's like you've been stuck in the gate before. You know everybody's going to be pissed. If you don't believe me, look at the dude that was behind him. Like, he was like, oh, man. When Chase got stuck in the gate, they had to slow. He was like, oh, man. That's how it was. So all that happened, go back to last year, one of Chase's best rides when he got stuck in the gate. I think it let him forget about everything. And he went out there and rode that motorcycle, not thinking about setup, not thinking about anything, not thinking about like hitting the ground or, hey, man, things can get worse. It was the worst situation he possibly in. Everything, championship done. So he rode, and you just saw talent. Like, he just rode the motorcycle, and that's how good that dude is. Once he got up to fourth place, this is where I say it's not easy for him. They haven't figured it out yet, is because I believe when I've seen him in that zone, Chase never stops coming. Like, he never stops coming. It's a problem. Like, he'll continue to come. He's one of the strongest dudes out here. I believe, yeah, he probably got tired second race of the year. Everybody get tired, unless you Eli. You ain't tired because you out there resting. But I believe if Chase they worked on the bike and they continue to get better, he would have ran those dudes down. Because normally what we saw in the KTM, once they figured out all that stuff, the train, he was like, the Sexton versus the beast mode. He just did it. It looked differently. He's like, damn, man, he just keep coming. He just keep coming. And it wouldn't have been easy. Once Chase got in the fourth, because it wasn't that easy for him to get there, I think he realized, like, all right, I did what I did. And he started thinking about all the other stuff, and he didn't want to go down. And it was a good ride for him. It's a confidence booster. So I don't think if he would have started out front or he would have started like fifth, his race wouldn't have went like that. So, for instance, if he would have started like sixth and got fourth, it would have been a disappointment. But the fact that how quickly he passed all them dudes in the early part of the race and he was coming, it was a good night considering all this stuff. So best thing to happen to him is that he ran into the gate, because I think it let him forget about all the other stuff and he was able to ride. And then once you got in fourth, you start thinking about it. And then again, things don't come that easy, but the signs are there. You got to be going really fast to be able to be making all those passes that he did, how fast he did, and still not be losing time to the leaders. But what you saw once he got to that fourth place, that's when reality kind of kicked in. And that's where I say they ain't there yet. But Rango probably told him, like, yo, if I'm doing all these Supercross videos and they doing that, they showing my kids and my family and all that, you best believe you better be up there doing something, because jumping off the track ain't it. And when he hit that gate, you just saw it. You saw what happened. Like, oh man, here we go. But Chase, you rode good, man. Keep it up. Y'all just keep working on it. It's only the second race, but all that pressure on you, you showed up, man, because it wasn't looking good. And again, I believe in you, just like everybody else believe in you. You did your thing, so you straight. Cooper Webb, the champ. Last weekend, I'm surprised he didn't get in the top 5, but then he went down, and all the stuff that happened in Barshot said the champ was just trying to get out of there. So at the end of the day, it was a mixed bag between them. Like, it was a win. This Cooper Webb. He's the only guy that's out there, no matter where he finishes at, where like everybody be like, damn. This weekend, be honest with you people, champ can't have another race like that. I ain't gonna lie. Another weekend like that, like I had this weekend, you can never discount the champ, because it's like the Aaron Rodgers discount double check. He's the champ, and he's still always gonna be champ. Dude's got more chips than dip, whatever. But go back a few years ago on the KTM, right? I said Cooper fell over like a wet noodle, and either he's winning or he ain't even trying to be out there. Like, he ain't trying to be out there. And I'm not saying that because, if he, like, hey, if you can't win, he don't want to be there. I'm just saying there's different levels to this. And at some point, when you're a championship, you got that big number 1. If you can't win the championship, you're like, what the hell am I doing for here? Like, I didn't come back, like, just to be muddy line, 5th place. That ain't me. I ain't about that life. It was a rough weekend for Cooper, and I think his riding's fine. I think his riding's fine. He don't look as comfortable on the bike, but I think that's because everybody else looks a little comfortable on the bike. Like, all the circumstances, they can make you look at certain situations differently, no matter how it is. But Chase getting around them and he going down, I don't think anything happened, really. Chase went up the inside, got a little cross-rutted. Cooper, stalled out. Cooper goes down. Bam. All right. The way he got up was like, oh, man. Like, he didn't look mad, because I don't think he thought that Chase did anything on purpose. But when Cooper's Cooper, you ain't got to do anything purpose to make him mad. He going to find a reason to make him mad. He just kind of got up. So I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. And we've seen it 2 weekends in a row that he can't move through the pack. The first heat race, I believe it was last weekend, in one of these races, there's only been 2 of them. It's like he gets there and he's just stuck. Like, stuck. I don't know if he's just struggling turning or whatnot, but it's not like he's able to move through the pack. And when you watch what Chase did this weekend, I think, again, Chase hit the gate. He went crazy, blacked out. He just went past this dude before he even know. I didn't think he saw that dude was in the way. Clearly, he didn't see him in the way. He was able to move up. Cooper hasn't done that. And with Eli winning, Cooper understands that, all right, if my competition, the strongest guys that I'm probably going to fight in this championship, keeps beating me and I'm losing this point, it does not sit well. Because the one thing about Supercross and our series, even a little different than motocross, how many guys you see have a really bad first race, and unless they go on a winning tear, you really can't lose the title in the first race or the second race. And Cooper is a long ways from winning the title, but the way Eli's riding, and if he doesn't bounce back this weekend at Anaheim too, it might as well be like he DNF'd the first race, and now instead of you racing for championship, you going for wins and hoping somebody gets hurt, because you dig yourself in the hole. There's not enough points to be made, and the likelihood of one of these guys getting hurt and all the guys that you would have to jump over, it just makes it difficult. So we go back to what we saw a few years ago in the KTM, and I was like, he fell over like a wet noodle. It wasn't because he wasn't trying. It's just, I believe once you get to that point where you can't win the championship, you start looking at other goals. And if you're not in a situation where you're good enough to win races at least, then you're just out there battling for podiums. And that's a hard spot to be in, especially when you felt like you can back it up. Now, I'm not counting Cooper out to win this championship at all. All I'm saying is that the signs are there to where if Eli goes and continues to do what he does and Cooper's not on the podium, you'll see rides just like you saw this weekend and last weekend, to where it just looks like he's stuck. You're stuck there because there's no purpose for you to be up front. And the purpose is like you want to be up there, but maybe your bike's not set up and you just can't get there. And the only way you can get there is by taking those chances. Well, you only take those chances if the chance is worth to take. If you can't win that title, I believe Cooper Webb ain't going to take that chance. And again, it's not like I'm saying that he's not there, invested into it. It's just an important week for the champ. And considering what I said last weekend, it seems like I'm going back on my words. We all got our parts where we have to step up and do our thing, and it becomes important for us. And no matter how good Cooper is, he understands that he can't give away that many points if he's trying to win the title. And the only reason he's out here is because he's trying to win the title. Dude is riding too good. Roxon is riding too good. Hunter is riding too good. And if you put Cooper up front right now, I don't think he'd beat those guys anyway where he's at, because those guys are on that level. So it makes you, it puts you in the spot. So Cooper Webb, I believe you're going to see a lot from him this weekend. It's going to tell you where the champ season is going to go, because I believe, like I said last weekend, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he won. I think it would be a little surprising, but at the same time, I think it's a huge weekend for the champ. Unlike coming in this weekend, I said he was fine. Champ got to come back. So he'll do his thing and we'll find out. But all the other guys, again, Ken Roxon real good, all the other guys. Eli Tomac, hey, look, you won 54 times and then you won 55. Like, damn, you getting up there. After watching that race, normally when they were saying, hey, can you get to the king of Supercross? And I know it's still a long way, because king. I thought I can get to the king until I realized, man, the king was on a whole different mountain. Like, I wasn't even there. I'm over here like Mount Haines City, king on Everest. But when I watched that race and the way he looks, it made you think, like, all right, you give him like 5 more wins, he get to 60. All right, the way he looking, like, I'd say he'll win at least 5 more times this year. You start thinking. And that's what level he was on, and it was the way he did it. But Eli, it was beautiful. You out there riding, like you didn't even worry about it. You keep an eye on Roxon, thinking about where you're going to go, as if like your team manager just told you, hey, look, you ain't riding no more. Like, you ain't riding any other day except for Saturday, because the only way we can lose on Saturday if you ride any other day besides Saturday. That's what kind of attitude that you out there riding with. You got no care in the world. College frat party. Woo! Bucket naked doing wheelies. And then the best part was, you came in that last quarter, you was like, I was like, oh my God, dude, clowning him. Like, he clowned, then he hit him with a turn down for what? You got to hit him for him. Neck burn, suntan. He was on fire, like straight up. That was beautiful out there doing all that stuff. Man, you had JS like, oh my gosh, I'm witnessing 2 things I ain't never seen. I ain't never seen Eli get tired. Like not tired. That dude exhausted. He ain't even looking back at nobody. That was crazy. All you people at home, y'all would know. You're like, all right, cool. Hey, wait, man. Does he not know? Like, Hunter's like right there. He still wasn't looking back. I was like, man, dude's got to be tired. Then he realized, he came by, he looked back, he was like, oh, snap, let me go ahead and win this race. Turn down for what? Oh, yeah, there it is. You saw it. It was beautiful. So congratulations, all you guys, KTM, Eli, y'all did good. It was pretty to watch, man. Hey, I wasn't sure, but now I am. It's fun to watch. All right, people. Let me just make this transition real quick. Let me get this one out the way. The best guy out there right now, the fastest guy, I still believe, that looks the best is Levi. Yeah, I know Haiden won. And you know what? They equal. Levi looks like, dude was riding. He's riding. He was able to come up through the pack. He looked good. But, man, he's on the first corner. He's down in the first corner. I remember being there in 2006 where I was, like, so much faster than those guys, but I just kept falling in the first corner. Like, literally, I fell in the first corner like 3 races in a row. Championship over. Whatever. He's riding good. Chance Hymas, he's riding good. But, boy, you know when he almost crashed over that little triple, that was his whole life flashed in front of him 3 times. Like 3 times. I'm going to say every life flashed in like a paradox over each jump. Like I was at home like, oh, and it wasn't even in slow mo. You know, it was in slow mo for Chance. He looked like he was out there kicking a horse. Like he was trying to, like, you saw him kicking them feet. My kid was sitting there watching with the race. He was like, Daddy, why are you doing that? I'm like, son, he trying to fight gravity right now. He trying to kick it back. Like he trying to stay down. Like he was smacking the horse to tell the horse, calm down. And after that, dude was shook. But Chance did a good job at regrouping and coming back. But it looked like the race should have ended right there for him. Not like ended because he crashed. Dude's talented. He saved it. But ended because he was scared. Because I was scared. And I'm all the way across the country. And I was scared. I was like, oh, please give my boy a chance. He did it. And he was able to recover. But he was no more fight. Chance like, hey, look, man. Hey, I'm just getting back. I'm just getting back. I want to live this fight another day. So Chance, you got to get save of the week, bro. Save of the year so far. That was beautiful. So, but he did it good. He was there. Ryder D, bad start, all that. Levi had a bad start. He was able to come, but I think maybe you went down or something. But nonetheless, you could see his confidence from even practice. He was solid. But why I really want to get into it is between teammates. Hey, look, there's a lot of people that don't like what Haiden did, don't like the kid, don't like whatever. I will say this. I don't even believe the pass was dirty. I actually don't. I mean, it's not like, I seen him do like the Joe Shimoda, all that stuff. The one where he goes down and breaks the collar, that was dirty. At the same time, yeah, hey, look, you can be whatever. Like, you can make your own judgments, whatever. Just like, hey, all the money online, dude trying to win, the only way he can win, like, he gonna do what he do. Like, I don't condone it, but that's what he did. That was a whole different circumstance. Now, this one, that pass was what Hayden's been doing his whole career. Not actually the pass, what he did, like Max going down. I'm just talking about the attitude and how he passes. I've always said that Haiden, his mindset is different. A lot of times he's not even the fastest dude, but he wins almost like he is so much more dominant than everybody else because of the way he rides and his attitude. And that as he passed Max, he had to pass May. Max gave it up. Like, he already gave it up. He had to go in there and just throw the back end in there just to let him go. I don't think Haiden was intentionally trying to take him down, but Haiden, what he was trying to do was trying to signify. He heard the chat boards. He probably heard me say, like, look, this might be the hardest title, whatever. He wants to let everyone know this is my class. Like, this is my class. And I said last weekend, that's what he has to do for a lot of different reasons. But when you look at Haiden, how he rides, that's what he does. So you can't get mad at him for doing. I don't even think the pass was dirty. Like, it wasn't dirty at all. Like, he didn't do anything. And again, I don't think he was even trying to take him out. But his intentions was what he was trying to do was it's like when you pass somebody and you like whip it on them. Like that. Like, just, it almost makes you go, I wish you would try to pass me back. Like, I wish you would think that, you can actually win this title. And man, you got to get a kid credit because that's how he's like beating these guys on a mindset. I don't think he would have done that to Levi. I could be wrong, and maybe he will. I don't think Hayden's obviously ain't gonna like back down from him, but I don't think he would have done that to Levi because Levi clearly has shown him he doesn't give it. He don't care. He's about that life. Levi don't care. So, and how good Levi's riding, Max is riding good too. I just don't think he would have done that. Now, he might have like closed them off and all that, but I don't think he would intentionally try to do it to certain riders. But not saying Max is a pushover, because I actually do believe when you see you get knocked down like that, and to Max's credit, I'd be more afraid of Max now than I would if he would have went off and said, like barking like a chihuahua. I wouldn't have been that afraid because you're like, all right, cool. He gonna come back. I'm preparing myself. But when he's like, yeah, hey, it's fair play now. I'm like, oh, please fix me, because smiley face assassin, boy, hey, you mess with that. Always my boy Kyle Chisholm, man, nicest dude in the world. Trey Kennard, nicest dude in the world. You put Kyle in the LCQ, hey, all them dudes know you ain't trying to mess with the Chiz and that dude. I don't know what happens to him. He get possessed, but that's the way it is. And the same thing, Trey Kennard, like, dude, and he came in that corner like wide open. I was like, yo, I thought I was crazy. No, you really are crazy. Like, you really are trying to win this. I just talk it. You really trying to get about that life. And then he would come in and be like, hey, man, good ride. Have you confused? Well, that's what I saw with Max. I didn't know. Like, he was like, oh, man, it's cool, fair game. So if I was Haiden, man, I'd be scared. I'd be scared. Max, hey, he might get a little, they might ban him from the Disney pass. Who knows? He willing to give it up. But both those guys, Haiden did what Hayden's been doing. The pass was not dirty. You know, he didn't intentionally probably try to knock dude down, but what he intentionally tried to do is what he's been doing the whole time. He's been doing it since Jerry Martin back in Daytona back in the day. Like, look, you just pass people with authority. Like, I'm Haiden Deegan. I win. That's all I do. You think you here? Like, I win. And as much as people don't like it, and I think the narrative, because of what happened with Joe, that's where you start hearing the boos and stuff. Like, people are not liking that. But you can't ask, the Tiger to change his stripes. That's the reason why this dude is so good. And when we look forward to him going in the 450 class, I didn't think he'd be that way. Hayden's changed a little bit, but at the same time, when Haiden gets threatened, his attitude and the way he is as a rider, and the reason why we all love watching him, that's who he is. So if you get mad at him, that's your own problem. Like, again, you can have your own opinion. I have mine. Everybody has theirs. But what he's doing and what he did to Max, shit, I mean, excuse my language, but hey, really? Like, that's what he always does. It's probably one of the cleaner passes that he made. But he's showing those guys that this is my class. And as crazy as it is, you got to respect that, because that's what that dude does. And he's been doing it. And that's why he has the number one play. And that's why, again, he came out there and he got him a neck burn, because he knew he needed to show up and let all these guys know they start to believe. They believe they can achieve. And Hayden's ain't about that life. He's like, I'm not going to go. And it's going to be fun to watch. I still feel like what I feel, that's going to rile Max up. Max is still good. Haiden got a bad start. Like, Haiden was riding really good. So he was able to catch him. But if Max would have got a start and Haiden would have did it like he did last weekend, Max would have won that race. He would have. So don't get that twisted. Max was still riding good enough. But Haiden was sending a message. And at the end of the day, Haiden is fast. Like, he is fast. He's just not fast enough to allow those guys to get like a whole shot, and him starting like in 10th place. So far, I don't think you would have caught him if he was that far. Even though he caught him in that heat race, just watch what happened. Like, he didn't just run away from him. Max was still there. Like, he was there. So you get that guy that room, you'll end up in that situation where Levi was the fastest person on the track. He looked the best, but he still ended up where he finished at. So give a shout out to him. He rode good. Haiden Deegan, you're going to get your neck burned. So far, y'all rolling with the Team Yamaha, Star Racing. Y'all doing y'all things. Y'all got the next super Haiden Deegan that's haven't even thought about being born yet. And then y'all got all these other kids that's become, y'all even adopt them. Y'all bring the kids from somebody else's family and make them champions. So congratulations to all those teams. And Levi, look, man, hey, kitchen looks good. All that food's great. But if you keep giving it up for free, man, eventually it ain't going to work. So you got to figure it out. Your riding's good enough. Looks silky smooth, good. And then I got to give a shout out to Cameron McAdoo. Hey, man, I mean, you had me. Like, I was sitting up there like, yeah, I felt good. So shout out to you, your family, sister in the service. I salute you. Cameron, did your thing. That was good to see. Congratulations for a podium. And then that was it. So, all right, people. Sorry for the long episode. I can sit here and talk for days, but you saw what you saw. You saw Eli get them fools to beat down. You saw Haiden Deegan remind you of he about that life. I believe Mr. Annual Pass about that life too. He be smiling. Whoo, he had me scared. So good ride, all you dudes. Glad to see everybody. Glad to see Barsha is doing good. My brother killed it. He was out there. Real strong ride. He'll get better and better. But it was cool to watch. And so that was it for round 2 from San Diego. I'll see you guys next weekend on the Rewind Show, where we're going to witness what we witnessed. Let's see if the champ bounced back. All right.